Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Airguns. In this episode, we've got a very special, well, two very special guests actually. We've got Terry Dow and Barry Hearn. A few of you might have noticed Barry from Airgun World from back in the day. Both these guys, you know, when I was growing up, I used to read a lot of articles and used to enjoy it, reading all about them and their airgunning adventures and whatever. And both my heroes, to be honest. Feel quite privileged to be sat here with you both right now. Obviously, I've met Terry a few times already, but this is the first time meeting Barry, so thanks for agreeing to do this. and yeah, so we're going to obviously have a quick chat about, you know, how you got into shooting and your experiences and everything about air guns, really. So my first question is then, how did you get into airgun shooting?
It was my brothers.
Oh, okay.
They're 18 years older than me, so there was a big gap between. I think Dad got his second wind. I don't know what it was, but so and they grew up with guns.
Yeah.
You know, they were evacuated during the war. So my brother Joey, he was sent to a farm at 11 years old, and the first thing he was given was a 410 out for the cartridge. The farmer said, "Go out." Well, it was magic, as you can imagine. Then when he joined the army, call up then it was.
National Service.
National Service. He became a small arms instructor.
Right.
He's won cups for shooting.
Right.
So it carried on so me growing up, they were my heroes, weren't they? So as you can imagine, I grew up with the smell of gun oil from a baby, literally. And so there's rabbits and pheasants hanging up everywhere, shotguns, we had a lot. And my sister, a pram. She's got a rabbit in the pram, dead rabbit that you shot the day before, and she's got it all wrapped up in there. And now you stay there just like it was a doll and walking up. Dad used to have to run. Dad, get back in here with that. You can't go out on the street.
Social services would be called now, wouldn't they? So there's a mad child with a dead rabbit in a pram.
I grew up with guns all around the house, so safety was quite natural. It became natural, and then. My dad got me my first gun when I was 11, Webley Falcon. And my nana, she used to say, "Go and get us a pigeon. Go and get us a pigeon."
Get a pigeon in pot.
Yeah, and I was supposed to go out and come back in with a pigeon for her. But then you see, they could pluck the pigeons, gut them, do everything to them. Where now you go up to someone, they go, "Oh, I've never tried. Would you get us one? You'll have to do it for us though. So you've got to pluck it and dress it." But you know.
We were on the way down here. We were talking in the car. The cameraman, Steve, I know you can't see him, but he's stood behind here. About if there was like an apocalypse in now or something like that and everything, that a lot of people wouldn't know how. It's like a lost skill. It's like if you don't get taught from a young age, like I got brought up on a farm, and you know, like you say,
it's more than that though. It's the result of a campaign by the meat industry to divorce meat from animals. That's why it's packaged like it is. They don't want it connected with the fact that an animal had to die to provide it. So there is a sort of a whole shift in public consciousness over it.
I mean, your brothers, they walk up the road with rabbits and just dump them. Can I have a rabbit? You just dump it there with its fur on. You've emptied it out, but and the old girls just knew how to skin them and prepare them. They just come naturally. But now,
people turn their nose up to
they
them
don't
a lot,
know
don't
now.
they?
You see,
people
just don't know.
I've seen people turn their nose up to wood pigeon and rabbit, and it's like you go into some fancy restaurants and they're charging 20-30 quid for rabbit dish, aren't they? And pigeon dish and stuff. But I think I love it. We just spoke about before we start filming that. Do you hunt and stuff, and do you eat what you shoot and things like that? 100% I do. I love it, and love nothing more. Like it's like reaping the rewards of what you've done.
Well, that's the essence of shooting for me. It's the pot at the end of the day, you know. Right, I'm off. All right, lovely.
We're being interrupted on camera by the point of what Barry says about dropping a rabbit off for somebody. When I used to go shoot with my dad on a Sunday morning, we'd come back with rabbits, pigeons, ducks, whatever. And as you walk through the village with the 12 ball broken over your arm, and it'd say, "Take a couple of pigeons to Mrs. So-and-so." If you walk through that same village today, you'd have blues and twos on you. I used to go over in the morning in the paper shop and prop my rifle against a massive elm tree. Tell how long ago that was, with a big elm tree. Go and get my dad's paper and maybe shoot a couple of sparrows out of the elm tree from the ferrets. And nobody would say anything. And I'd go. Now, wow. that would be the end of it, wouldn't it?
Mm.
It's a different world. It was a different
It
world.
is a different world. I think social media's got a lot to do with that. I'm not slagging it off because obviously we're filming for social media now, but
Of course, yeah.
it has its pros and its cons. And I've been stopped a couple of times with my permissions when there's been a dog walker walking past where they shouldn't be, because it's obviously private land and stuff, and they think they've got the right to go anywhere. But
Yeah.
I've been stopped and know what you're doing. I'm like, well,
feel
I'm
under
sorry,
threat,
I'm
just
carrying
'cause-
out,
yeah.
I'm carrying out pest control. It hasn't really got a lot to do with you,
Mm.
but this is what we're doing here and stuff. But
Mm.
yeah, it is a good and a bad thing, isn't it? Really. And
Yeah, it
times,
can,
like I
can
said,
be a
times change.
magnificent thing, and it can also.
Going on to the next question, then. This is to both of you.
Yeah.
So I want to hear this from both of you.
Go on.
What keeps you so passionate about still wanting to get out there and do it all the time?
God, that's an hard one.
It is a tough one. I will. It sounds a bit corny,
It's like breathing.
but it is, yes, exactly what you just said.
That's all
It's
I can
who
say.
we are.
Yeah.
It's who
Yeah.
we are. I think the best thing that sums it up for me, I had a hilarious couple of accidents fishing when I broke both arms in separate incidents 6 weeks apart.
So how big were fish?
Yeah, one of them I did break landing a fish. It'll all be in the book when I get around to writing it. But in the 6 weeks that I was completely incapacitated, there were on 2 occasions I got my sons to take my bed chair down the lake, set the bivvy up, just so I could sleep outside, so I could smell the soil and just be there. And it wasn't it's not a fanciful thing we do. It's who we are. It really is who we are. Where other kids,
It's in your fabric.
they define themselves by playing football.
I couldn't agree more.
We did it by
It's built
hunting,
into you.
didn't we? Everyone else.
That's why it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
To somebody that can't see it that way.
Mm.
I'm sure if you said to somebody, "Do they like football?" and they try to explain to you why, it'd be hard for me anyway, not interested to understand why but they do. Everybody's got whatever blows your trumpet, I suppose, But that's to me is shooting. It's something I have to do.
And it's not killing, by the way. It's not killing.
Oh no,
It's not, that is just the switch off.
Yeah.
It's the being where you're happiest. Being where, if it's shooting, if it's fishing, if it's walking, it's just a writ in your garden. You need to be where you're among your people, and our people are out there.
Yeah. So I've found since I opened the club, the Airgun club, it's a lot of people come and they say they love it for the mental health. And I agree with them. I couldn't agree more. It's like you just said, Barry. It's like breathing. I love getting out in the woods, getting out in the fields, just even walking around and walk around, and not even.
Doesn't matter exactly. I know what you're going to say. If you shoot the gun or not, it doesn't matter.
And just being there.
I've gone out and just shot the pellet into the ground. That's the only one I fired that day. In the early morning.
Yeah.
That's all I've and gone back. I can't count each time. Just deep banging the ground.
Especially this time of year as well. I love getting up at 5, 4 in the morning when it's daylight, and you see things that you'd never see before.
Exactly.
Because there's no one around. Wildlife is literally out, and it's just a beautiful. You see sometimes when the sun comes up as well. When you're fishing, Terry.
Yeah.
You've been in your bivvy all night, and then the sun comes up and water mists come off water, and there's
wonderful.
nothing better.
And you can never blank. You can never blank if you learn something.
Some of the red letter days I've had shooting pigeon early morning is when it's foggy. When it's really misty and foggy.
Yeah.
They seem as blind as a bat. they sit in the trees, and you can literally, as long as you're slow and careful, you walk under them, especially with the modifiers we've got now, and go, and the one next to it just,
what's that?
what was that?
Yeah.
And you get a chance of another one, you know. And I've had some great fun on misty days when it's really misty and foggy.
Other people will say, "What a horrible day! Look, it's really dreary out there." And we're out there. It's a different picture in our country, and we're out there making the most of it. And it's sometimes I've been sitting in a hide or sitting just under cover and just smiling like a loon. People looking at you and think there's something wrong with him, but you think this is it. If I was a billionaire, I couldn't be any happier than what I'm doing now.
I mean, I've got these shotguns, but I very rarely use them now. I mostly give it up this year when it runs out again. I just don't bother shooting it. One bang and everything that was around you
it's gone.
has gone. Everything, right down to small life itself in the woods, is just all gone. And so I'm not really a shotgun man. But good luck to those that do.
I've got shotguns in from being obviously brought up with shooting we had our own shoot on the farm. But I've had my license since I was about 18, and I don't see it come out of the cupboard like from year to year, year.
About mine over 40 years, yeah.
So I've got another good question for both of you. If you could relive one of your Airgun moments that you've had through, obviously, all these years of shooting, what would it be?
What would yours be, Barry?
It wouldn't be shooting something from a distance that I remember. It'd be weaving a pellet through a small gap, small little hole where all you can see is just the head.
Yeah.
And you put that pellet through that hole.
Good.
You know,
Yeah,
that is something which I've done with Terry on a few occasions. There was one, I remember it was a weeny little.
It was a
little gap. It's just a little bend. I put the shot through it, and he goes just like threadling a needle. It was one of those shots. But if you'd miss, it wouldn't have mattered. It was just
if you missed high or low, you
did
a branch.
You're not hurting anything.
Just needed.
If you and again, it was through. That to me is memorable shots, not distance.
Yeah.
No,
distance don't bother me at all.
I suppose my greatest memory is flying back from Los Angeles, Los Angeles, with the US Champions Trophy sitting next to me on the seat in 1989, and having the.
Did you get a private seat for
the guys? The stewardess, because you know what they're like out there. The stewardess saw the trophy. It was in this like a plastic dome. She said, "What's that for?" I said, "Oh, it's the Field Target Championship of America, of your country." She said, "You won it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I'm just very lucky." I was very lucky. And they brought me wine and all sorts. They do treat you well. It was brilliant. Yeah, and getting off the plane and having John Ford from Sports Match, whose rifle I used, there to meet me and say, "Well done." You know, it was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful moment to do it. And then, of course, I got back to my club, and they'd all had a little chat and decided they must ignore me totally and don't ask about it. And I came in with the trophy, put it on the table, and not one of them turned around. And go, "That's just pure England, though, isn't it?" Yeah. That's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. No, of many, many memories.
So the next question then is, the airgun scene's changed that much over the last few decades. I've seen it change from, we just spoke about your Springer, your 35 that you've got, then you said how pneumatics had changed everything. Now we're moving on to digital scopes and electronic guns and everything.
At my age, I'm too cooked. Yeah.
I know,
at my age. Yeah. For those up and coming, fine, that's fine. It can, how can I say, it can give you the holdover point, it can do all of that, but one thing it can't do is pull the trigger for you.
Correct, yeah. I bet they'll get to that point eventually. Yeah. There'll be something built into,
that's still down to you.
It can't get you close enough.
It can't get you, and it can't, exactly, it can't get you close enough. But, you know.
I think you're never going to be able to beat old-fashioned fieldcraft, no matter what you do.
Never.
Like you said, they can give you holdover points, they can be accurate out to 60, 55, 60 yards now and whatever, or beyond if it's FAC and things and all the rest of it. You're getting, I don't know, 5p groups now. Some of them are.
They're just amazing. The accuracy of these guns now are just amazing.
I mean, I saw that some of the groups you were getting with your day state down at Bizzard that time I come to see you, and that I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but it's diminishing returns now, because if I take my top 5 rifles and go to Bisley and I'm not inside, I don't know, 20 mil at 50 yards, I'm upset now. Now I'm not celebrating how brilliant they are. I'm thinking, well, a couple of those straight out. I wonder what that was. So we are in danger of getting away from the core of it all. But as Barry just said, it can't do the essentials for you. What these new scopes and the rangefinders and everything will do for you is replace the years of learning that it took people who's been at it as long as I have and Barry has. It will replace a great deal of those. Somebody doing it for 20 minutes will be able to probably outshoot me at a bench.
You could almost put it down to the knowledge and now a sat-nav.
It is.
Yeah.
It's having.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Learning the knowledge as a taxi driver in London.
Had to learn the knowledge of every single road, every single side turning, and then now
after.
No. Yeah, that's the difference. It's the difference between a road map and sat nav. But there's still, for anybody who says it's cheating and it's taking the skill out of it, there are still so many skills. If you honestly think it's cheating, stalk to within 20 yards then.
So with all the new gizmos that are out there, I was brought up with old guns that unless you were close enough, you weren't getting nothing. So you had to learn fieldcraft.
Yeah.
90% of all of my shooting is fieldcraft. All of it. The shooting is just the last of the.
I think, and
most of my kills, most of my shooting is 30 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd bother going over that. And if I could sit almost on top of the quarry, I will, because you're killing an animal.
Yeah.
So to me,
just, it's
exactly. If I want to test myself on how good I am with a shot, I shoot a tin can, 50, 60 yards. You can't wound a tin can.
Yeah, true.
So that's why all my shooting has always been very, very close. Very, very close. I can remember the first time I took Terry, he asked me, could we go crow shooting? And I took you to, we sat in the hide that I built, and he's looking at it, he's going, well, where's the tree? And I said, it's there. And he looked up at me and almost laughed. You could have almost poked them out with a stick. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But if you
built the hide well enough,
if you move slowly and don't, you're knocking them out. So
it also applies to camo, doesn't it? The best camo in the world can be destroyed by movement or bad choice of shadow.
Exactly.
Best in the world.
You're not invisible because you're wearing it. You know,
it doesn't totally replace. It helps. They all help, but they don't replace the old skills and the traditional skills. And you'd be a much poorer shooter in terms of performance and enjoyability. You'd be much poorer if you tried to get around the skills, I think. But they're the most satisfying shots. When you stalked within 25 yards of a rabbit, to take you 10 minutes, and then you switch him off. Just switch it off. That's the skill. Yeah. It's not the switching off. It's the getting in.
Yeah. Closer I can get, the better.
But we're old gits, so you can just imagine them out there saying, "Do you still indicate with your hands when you're driving, do you, lads?"
I mean, there's some wonderful people out there that can shoot a lot better than I could ever shoot at distances, and they're consistent too. Me, I'm brought up with the old guns, so I'm had to get close to quarry, and I've never got out of that habit.
Yeah.
So with the guns I've got now, they're capable of shooting twice the distance. I know that, but I still want to get as close as I can.
I think in the next 10 years moving forward that people will start to lose fieldcraft skills because of the technology that's coming out now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you said, your holdovers and your windages and things.
Yeah.
That's all part of
there's windage predictors out now. I saw it 2 years ago, I think 3 years ago at SHOT Show. They've got sonic emitters that ping sound at the target, and they measure the deflection on the way back.
Okay.
They're doing it for silly ranges for snipers, but they're out there. And everything that starts off at military and 50 grand comes down to us for 2 grand or much less these days. So it's coming, but it will still be certainly in our lifetime, mainly down to the skill.
Fieldcraft is the most important of all of it. It's fieldcraft.
Yeah, without same watercraft for fishing, it's still the best. It's still the best tool you can have, and it always will be with hunting. And we're talking about hunting, not bench rest or we're talking about hunting. And although they haven't evolved too much in the last couple of million years, they don't need to. The things we're hunting and the animals that they live amongst they're so much more attuned to it all than we are. You're not just stalking that rabbit. You're stalking that rabbit and not disturbing the blackbird. And not disturbing whatever's around him, because that rabbit's aware of it. That rabbit's reading. They're reading the land all the time, and you've got to do the same. He is the best I've ever seen.
Most of the shooting I do now is hide shooting. I love it. Get a bit lazy now, and because the pneumatic guns we've got now, you can rest them.
Yeah.
At 25 yards, it's every, you're sitting on a nice, so get a lump of a cloth, wrap it round a branch, make it sure it's at the right height, nice and comfortable. We've sat with you, we've had some great fun sitting there. So you just put the gun on there. First time I get in the hide, first shot, I'll aim at a branch, a little or an acorn or something.
Yeah, just make sure.
I think, and the pigeon's going to be sitting in that band. You know when you put that cross on it, it's yours.
What's so when I used to obviously read the articles in the magazines that you used to hunt with a falcon light hunter, didn't you?
Yeah.
Have you still got that, or is
no,
that?
No.
You? Okay.
I gave them away to somebody that we know that.
So what would be your, out of all the rifles you've had, what would have been, well, still is your go-to rifle?
My go-to rifle.
If you could pick any one.
I've got the
Daystate
Merlin.
Right, okay.
One of their very first limited edition ones.
I absolutely love it. X2. I absolutely adore it.
It is literally match accurate.
Oh,
177.
Is it?
Beautiful gun.
I've never shot one, to be fair. I've shot loads of day stakes, but I've never had to go in Merlin.
You've seen them though.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen pictures of him. Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. He's got the old day state FTS as well. The old
which
one.
I showed
Yeah,
you.
you showed me that. Yeah.
He's still got that.
As I say that, and the old original 35, the dinners though they both put across my table, I can't count. But I do love I love day state, to be honest with you. But then they've got some lovely guns out now, all different makes, haven't they?
So Barry's not sponsored by Day State, by the way, guys. It's just
No, I'm not. I mean, S310s I've shot, they're all beautiful guns, all lovely guns.
Yeah, what's yours?
My go-to at the moment is the 510S 510R, and it's in the tactical stock.
Tactical, that's surprising.
Yeah, well, you can put. I can order because I'm always instructing. I'm always teaching people.
Yeah.
You remember that, don't you?
I do remember that.
like a bit of wood.
I like a bit of wood.
No, my students can use it, and I use that. I use obviously I once a month I shoot my Springer still, Emily, the 77. I still shoot the old girl. Oh man, she's wonderful. Next time you come down to Bisley, we'll have a proper
I
play.
pick mine up now and again. I'll play with the garden.
See, child of technology.
Close your eyes, you're waiting for it.
Child of technology.
No.
I'm lucky enough to have some nice bits of kit, and I get to test everything else, and it's an absolute privilege, and it's great to see how far it's
your
come.
gun?
Oh God! If you could have any, I think it'd be a Rapid. I mean, Rapid 17 Mark 1.
Yeah.
I just think the bulletproof. I've used it for a lot of different
Yeah.
hunting. It's been tuned by a bloke called Kev G, lives quite close to me, and it just never fails. And it's accurate. It's so accurate.
As you just say, these guns now are so accurate. I don't see how they can make them anymore.
No, they can't make them more accurate.
They can't make them any more accurate.
They can make them more pellet friendly. They can make them cheaper.
Yeah. As
That's about it.
As long as they've got a good
and make
barrel.
them fit better. They can make them fit better. That's the only thing.
As long as they've got a good barrel and the power behind the pellet is the same and constant, then what can I don't think you could better them now.
Pellets have helped though.
You can make all the new shapes and beautiful stocks and all the lot, but the actual shooting of the gun now in the right hands are good. They're good. They're accurate now.
Having pellets that fly where they're aimed
pellets are
very handy, because there was a time when we didn't have them.
Oh God, pellets. Do you remember? I don't think you remember the old bulldog pellets. You remember?
Lanes.
Oh my God!
Lanes bulldogs.
We used to have a stick, a piece of wood with a nail in the end, with the head cut off.
Yeah.
So when you pushed them in the barrel, you had to push the thing just to form it to go in. Otherwise, you go.
It's the equivalent of a pellet sizer on the go. Sort of.
A pellet sizer.
But they sold them in the bike shop to anybody, and beat all wasted pellets with a target on the box. You'd be lucky to hit the box. But if you had a few bob, you bought wasps.
Yeah, the wasps.
But they were a bit of a tight fit, the wasps. And the guns those days, that would cost you a bit.
Yeah.
And
brother liked wasp.
Then they H&N started coming in the gun shops, and we were working, and we had a few more bob then, and it's been exponential, isn't it? The rise.
What's
of the
your
air
best
gun.
pellet?
Mine is the Air Arms Field still, which is the JSB variant.
Yeah.
I'm testing their newest batch that they've got, and it's amazing. Again, I wouldn't have discovered this without that Hike Micro 4K light. I put the same, because it's virtually the same pellet, I put the same ballistic coefficient. It's where we lose him now. We're going to lose him now. I put the same ballistic coefficient figure in, and it strikes high at 50 yards. He's gone. So, although they're identical, they don't fly the same out of that S510R barrel.
Yeah.
So, it goes that high at 50 yards. So, tiny little changes like that will have an effect. But only if the gun's good enough to get you to notice them. If gun's grouping like a shot, you ain't going to notice it.
No.
But listen, believe me, if he's talking about 25, 30 yards, I can't think I've seen him miss one at that range. But if he did, he'd be shocked. So he's got it down to, it must hit the pellet you've just shot, or very near off.
Cut the same hole.
Yeah, it must do.
As long as you can cut
So
the same.
what's your go-to pellet then?
Barracuda match.
Barracuda matches.
Oh,
the 10 grain one.
9 point.
10.5.
Just
10.5.
They're without doubt I've shot many different pellets. In a day state,
Yeah.
they're absolutely superb.
So I've swapped to. I
But it's got to be the Barracuda match.
Yeah.
You do other ones, and you will the flatheads and all this. You will sacrifice a little bit of accuracy.
Yeah.
Not a lot, not enough to cause you any problems, but the Barracuda match will just literally just cut the same hole out. They're absolutely beautiful.
So I used to use JSB a lot, like all the air arms, and I swapped over to QASs not so long back, the Chinese ones.
Yeah.
And the consistency of the pellet, the weight of the, obviously, when you get open a tin, there's hardly no deformed ones.
No.
Right.
They're lovely, and just seems to be a good all-round pellet, really.
Yeah, a lot of people like them.
You find what you like.
Well, you've got a few with Barracuda match, haven't you? So.
Oh yes,
he stockpiled them, so I think they'll see him out. If I outlive him, I'm raiding him. They're the old style. I watched those being made, and that is one of the most interesting things when you see what goes into them with the amount of. Did I speak about this on the last one? It's mind-boggling. And you think, oh, they're expensive at whatever a tin. You think, how do they make them for that? You know, it's incredible. But we just want to shoot them. Remember, we come from a time when if I couldn't afford 2.2 pellets, and please do not do this at home, kids. If I couldn't afford 2.2 pellets, I would buy 177s and chew them out to 2.2. Or if I was being precise, I'd squish them on my mum's windowsill and hold the head and push them down until you flatten the skirt out to fit the 2.2. Yeah.
Right, so my next question then for you, Barry, is what's your most favourite quarry to hunt? Have you got one, or do you just
like it's pigeons? To be honest,
because the way they taste,
good wood pigeon. I can say 90% of Sundays it's pigeon for me and Terry.
Yeah.
Pigeon, or venison, pigeon, rabbit, that sort of thing. But it's always game.
Is it so? You said you do a lot of hide hunting.
I love it. I love
pigeons.
I've got some pictures. I can sit in a hide with pigeons.
Yeah.
And you can have a radio and listen to because a pigeon, you could have that radio and you can slowly turn it up and you still sit there. Turn the radio off and break a twig. Gone.
Yeah.
They're tuned into something completely different. So you could sit there with the radio. In the winter when the trees are bare and you haven't got to keep your eyes on the trees, because as you know, in the summer when all the trees have got leaf, you see a pigeon coming. If you don't watch him, you can't
find him. Yeah.
And he's a nightmare to find. You're all like this all over the trees.
You can with a thermal. You can with a thermal.
But in the winter when the trees are bare, I'll take a Kindle. And I can sit in there reading a Kindle with a radio on. And all we do is just keep glancing up at the tree every so often. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And there's some, when you said what some of your favourite shots, some of them is that imagine your pigeon's landed in a tree. It's completely covered by undergrowth. And all you can see is just a faint outline of the breast this side and the tail down there. Can't take a shot. Can't take the shot. But you keep looking at him through the scope and wait. And all of a sudden you see him bend his head down, and you put his head back. You think, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you get the crosshair, rest the gun, you put it right in the right spot like that. You might be stuck in that position for 2-3 minutes, a long time. And all of a sudden, his head will come round and he'll drop. And you think, gotcha. Now that's the shots to remember. Things like that. But we're still only talking 25 yards. Close shots, not distance.
Rifle rested, recoilless, match accurate.
Oh yeah. Every advantage that I could have, I would. In that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. But you do need a thermal spotter.
So they're the shots that I remember. Or a small window where there's a branch here, 10 feet back to another. That's why I've got a 177. They're so flat trajectory. And you can thread that just above this branch over the next one. Yeah. Dang, and now and again, of course, you just touch a branch and that pellet's gone. And the pigeon still sits there half the time. You don't even know you've taken the shot. You didn't quite get another shot, But
I enjoy pigeon shooting. I had decoyed them quite a lot, to be fair.
Oh, right.
And you've got to be really on your feet when they do that, because they come on land, and if they don't like the pattern when they land, they're only there for two or 3 seconds. And if you don't get on them,
Well, I'll be honest. The garden here, I get a lot down in the winter. I feed them down here in the winter, and of course, a pigeon, his head's going like this all the time. Every time he moves his feet, his head's going. So I waited for him to face me. And once his head goes down to peck the corn,
take a shot then.
Now, if you miss this, and it goes there, it's going straight the way through him. He just folds up and drops.
Yeah,
But side on, I'm trying to get a shot at the head. I can't count how many I've missed where the head's gone back and forth, and I've missed him. So I've noticed now if they face me, and when they put their head down to peck, just
it's a good tip that really.
Top of the
I've
head.
never really thought about that.
top of the head. You've got that.
Yeah, you get in the head and then you get the engine room if you don't.
Yeah,
get it.
exactly.
Yeah.
You've got down the side there. It's coming. It's 177. It's straight through. You know, and they just fold and drop.
Yeah, it takes all the organs, vital organs out. If you don't get the head.
That's right. Side on, I can't count how many I've missed. Completely missed them.
By the way, for those who don't know, the Terry he mentioned earlier, who eats pigeons and things with him on a Sunday, is his son Terry Hearn, possibly the best carp fisherman that's ever been.
Better than you.
Better than me, dear oh dear. No, anybody who's into carp fishing knows who Terry Hearn is, and I'd say Terry's a hunter as well, isn't he?
Yes.
He hunts.
He shoots in the
He shoots, but he hunts
you know.
carp. He doesn't just go through the motions. He susses it out, and he would be the first to say what watercraft and fieldcraft mean. And I would like to say Barry taught him all he knows, but he didn't.
Not fishing.
Not a fishing, he didn't.
So the other question we've got, Barry, is we all know that you're a master hide maker. I saw this on Total Airgun Hunting years ago. You did a bit of a piece. One of your little bit was obviously about hunting, hide building, didn't you, as well? What's your top tips for building hides? Locations, and obviously what's the best to build?
Location is very important.
What kind of location should you look for?
Well, for a start, you've got to get a tree with
Well,
pigeons
yeah,
in
sure,
it.
yes,
Because that's the most important thing of all.
That's a good start.
Anything that what's important with a hide isn't just what's in front of you hiding you, it's the back, what's behind you.
Yeah.
If you
Not
haven't
the
got
silhouette,
a good, if that sun comes round, which you don't really want the hide where the sun's going to be, you're looking up at the sun. So you want the sun behind you if possible, if you can, or near as possible to that. And if that's the case, then you've got to have the back of the hide has got to have as much cover as the front, because you'll show out like a sore thumb, But pigeons, I find at very close range, what I shoot at, is that when they land in a tree, they're not looking there, they're looking around, they're looking out all around you, and it's amazing just what you can get away with, But hide again, I built hides before where we was in the middle of a field and it was full of sheep, and they strip everything bare, don't they? Well, I remember the pigeons were in this one every morning they were there, and I thought, I'm going to make a hide in there. I carted all this ivy from God knows how far away, all the way over there, made the hide. I thought, first thing in the morning, it was just getting dark, the pigeons had gone, last hours are dark, so I made the hide. I thought, came back in the morning, they want a bloody strip, they want a leaf left on it. They completely stripped me, stripped it to pieces. Yeah, never left me nothing.
You hide shoot rabbits though as well, don't you?
Oh, I love shooting rabbits in hides. Yeah,
you made
again with the rabbits along hedgerows. If it's fenced, you jump over the fence. You've got again resting a gun, branch, stick it in the ground, have a branch coming out, so you can sit the gun on it. And literally, I'm shooting my distance shooting rabbits. That furthest globe.
Yeah, 15 yards.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, and they're coming out, but at that distance, you can't have the times I've had the gun ready. I'll put the gun down to get a sweet out of my pocket, and a rabbit's run out. And you're sitting there, you're looking at the gun, and you look at the rabbit, and you can't do nothing about it. But all of a sudden, you run in. You got the gun. So I lay there with the gun sitting on my shoulder, and I'm looking along the edge road. So as soon as a rabbit comes out, the less movement you have to do.
Yeah, it's what else. Yeah.
See, the less movement you have to do, the better. And you might take you a minute to get the gun up. You're holding it like that, and you're looking at him, and they think they're staring at it, but they're not. And then you go down to feed. You just get the gun up a little bit more, and they come up. You've done it, I'm sure. And then a little bit more, and then you just. And you're on him, bang, yeah, But that's close. That's really close quarters.
It is close, yeah.
Really close.
Yeah, he's done it. He's in the old days. I was in one of the hedgerow hides with him. He's got bits of white flint at ranges that he knows exactly, so they're visible. So instead of a rangefinder, he's got bits of flint hanging out there.
I've got markers, so I know exactly.
You know exactly
if I
where
have
they
got
are.
Hold over a little bit, I know exactly what to do at the distances.
But he set it
Pretty
all
hard
up.
to judge distances.
You couldn't see it from 20 yards away. You couldn't see the hedge. He's in the middle of the hedge. He's snipped away all the stuff that they didn't need. And
But hide shooting again, don't worry about. You cut the windows out afterwards.
So you build the hide
So
and then
you
cut
build the
yeah.
hide,
Yeah.
go inside with the clippers. You'll then you've got your position. You've got to be comfortable. Nice seat where you are. And you're working out where the gun's got to sit. So shooting at the tree, and then you get some big heavy branch. Wedge a branch across it, wrap a piece of cloth around it, and the gun sits there. And I quite often tie a knot. Have the knot on the top, wound it round another knot. So you've got 2 knots both sides, and the gun sits between the knot. As we've done, many times. And pigeon shooting we've done together quite a lot. We take turns. We go in the same eye sometimes.
Yeah.
Just sit there, go, your turn.
it's brilliant. But it's all about local vegetation, okay, as much as you can. But little things like, when you pull vegetation up, some of it will die. It's better not to have the leaves upside down. So that's just completely unnatural. A flying pigeon will spot that literally half a mile away. So have the leaves right way round. And if you've got your hide in the right place, some of Barry's have been in. How long have they been there? Some of yours over it?
I've got pictures. I'll show you some pictures later on the hide. That's been there, 20 years, I suppose.
20.
I have to keep building it. I've gone there after and it's all
collapsed.
collapsed and I have to bring it up again.
But it's part of the landscape. It's not suspicious. It's overgrown with traveller's joy, nettles,
and
stuff.
A lot of it is naturally well overgrown with the nettles and everything. So you're really halfway there.
Totally light tight, totally. And what doesn't happen light tight wise? Naturally, you bring dustbin bags and spread them over the framework, just so that you cannot be silhouetted in that hide. Because
if you've got a good
backstop,
a tree that's gone down, the one that I'm talking
about,
there's a big tree, it's gone down, so you're using that as your
backrest,
and it can support branches for your build, and
basically it's a hand. What Barry uses is a hand saw, some string, maybe a bow saw now and again, and some secateurs, and that's it. You take them in pockets, and get them over there. But you've got to select that. It's no good having the best hide in the world if they're not bothering with it.
I'll build maybe on a little shoot I've got up there. There'd be maybe 4 hides. So if anything, I can always jump to another one if one isn't working. So quite often I've picked the wrong hide and I'm looking down at the other one, all blue with pigs. I think, I made a mess up here. I should have been down there. And you can't come out and change because you're scared of the white when they're gone. Yeah. So you're stuck there. You'll get a few, but you think, God, if I'd been in there, I'd have had a right day, And again, with a hide, if you're sitting, it's so quiet. Everything, sparrowhawks are coming and land there, and you're looking at them. Buzzards are coming in trees. I've even had a young rabbit opt in,
inside the hide,
and sit almost on my toes, and I'm sitting there looking at it, thinking, only a little, and then it's just off away again. You get a weasel come through, and the mouse. They always get the mice, hopping around everywhere. Everything comes to life. You're so quiet. Everything's so, as you say, one bang with a shotgun, and
it's all gone.
Everything's gone. So it's all that I like.
No, hide building's an art in itself, and it's very enjoyable.
I've been robbed by the buzzards before now. I've dropped the pigeons, and you can't go out. They're down, and I've gone out there and see a buzzard dragging one across the buzzards nick me bloody pigeons.
So the next question then for you, Barry, is what is the one piece of kit that you can't go shooting without? Obviously the gun, but I mean
think of anything else.
Well, I've never seen you go without that game bag of yours.
Oh, I've got a bag for putting stuff in. Other than that, just go light. If I'm in hide shooting, it's got to be a flask.
Obviously, Radio.
Yeah, radio.
Pigeon shooting.
Yeah, pigeon shooting. Kindle. As I was saying,
all the traditional hunting stuff.
All the things. But other than that, really, I can't think of much else that I really need. I don't worry about binoculars or anything like that. I'm not interested in all that sort of thing. If I can't see them, it's too far to worry about.
No, you're the land that you shoot, so well anyway, don't you?
You're
not mapping out new stuff.
It's 2 or 3 small fields, and 2 small for shotguns. Yeah, you can shoot a shotgun on there, but houses nearby complain if they're always banging away. So it's down to air rifles. That's why I've got it, really.
Yeah.
There's a few rabbits over there, but I limit to maybe 2 or 3. Otherwise, I'll wipe them out. There's not that many there. But it's the pigeon.
Yeah.
No, I'm almost embarrassed to name mine now. They're Mr. Traditional here, Mr. Go. I will not go shooting without a thermal spotter.
That's new technology. That's like a cheat code.
It's terrible.
Terry.
It's terrible. I won't. Well, you can add shooting sticks to that as well. I'm not, unless I'm in a hide like you are where they're propped up. I'm not going, but definitely not the thermal spot. I won't even go for a walk. I won't go for a walk without a thermal spotter.
I don't do a lot of stalking now. If I do, a tree's got to be nearby for me to, to put that gun against.
Yeah.
No. We're equipment light, really, but the stuff we take does its job. It's not there for fashion reasons, I can tell you.
I take the thermal spotter out of me, I'm not going to lie. I've got the 4K Habrox, so it's a binocular thermal spotter and rangefinder, if I want. But yeah, it's a bit like a cheat code, really, isn't it? It's
totally. But remember years ago, to say you had a 10-acre field, right? In the old days, that would be you'd flick the lamp on,
scan the field,
flick it off, see how much eye shine you could get back, and don't leave it on too long because you're going to spook them.
Yeah.
And get little bit closer, another little flick, whoop, turn it off. It will take you, for a 10-acre field, it'll take you 40 minutes to suss out what's in it and where it's worth stalking. With a thermal spotter, you can scan half a mile and they're glowing bright orange, and it is a cheat, but it's so efficient. It cuts down the walking, which is a factor, even for hyperfit him here. It is a factor. That doing that amount of walking carrying a rifle, you can cut it down so much with a thermal spotter. Even if I'm in a hide, I like to see what's going on. I like to see what's about. I like to see, even if you're lamping, I can see moths through it. I can see bats. It just adds a whole new. I always keep one in the car. I always keep one in my rifle bag. It's the go-to. It's only been recently superseded, the importance of that little thing. It's only recently been superseded, but I'll tease you with that one. But we'll get to that later, I'm sure. But no, that's my essential.
So the next thing then, what is one thing, if anything, that winds you both up within the airgun industry?
People boasting about long shots absolutely turns me inside out. Actually, really does.
Yeah, I'll go with that. It's
not
the most, but it's one of the
If
most.
you said to somebody, like you asked me what was my favourite shot, I'd tell you something that's 25 yards away.
Yeah.
Threading it through a little gap.
Yeah.
Most of them go, oh, I shot a rabbit 70 yards, 65 yards. Yeah, as Terry's always said, do that 10 times on the trot.
Not going to happen.
No,
is it?
Yeah.
Right?
That shot is not actually your best. It's your worst.
Just because that rabbit runs, don't mean you've missed him.
Yeah.
Don't mean you've missed him. And to me, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, of course it isn't.
No,
but that's the biggest boast you'll get is how far they can shoot.
I used to dread it on the forums and say, "Go on, tell us your best shot," and somebody'd say 80 yards with a legal limit 2.2.
Who are they talking to?
If you can't group at that range, if you can,
wow,
phone him, phone Danny, and he'll interview you, and then come and teach me and him. But if you can't group inside an inch, you took a punt on a live animal. Is what you did.
Yeah.
So that's not something to brag about.
And you got away with it.
You'd have to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator with them funny eyes, wouldn't you?
Even with a range finding scope, even knowing that with no wind, I'm not taking them legal limit. I'm not taking them beyond 46, 47 yards, and then it has to be ideal. It really has to be ideal then. If you can do it further, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm still all right. If you can do it further, then brilliant. If you can group inside an inch, the fact is, you should never be surprised. You shouldn't be impressed that animal falls over. You should expect it totally. You should be amazed that it didn't.
Yeah.
So don't go, blimey, I can't believe I hit that. Yeah. What are you saying if you do that? Yeah. But no, that they're not your best shots. They're your worst shots. Your best shots is when you took 20 minutes to get up close. You got the wind right, and you got the stalking right, and you got the location right, and you just roll it over.
I totally agree, because that's all about what hunting's about. It's the field. That's the part of the fieldcraft of doing it.
That's what it's about.
I'm not going to lie. I've took longer shots past 48, probably 48, 50
We've
yards
all
before. But
done that. We've all done
it's
it.
when I've been,
slightly agree.
it's
Yeah.
when I've been laid down,
Yeah.
windless.
Yeah, with you, you've got FAC
against,
as well,
against the
isn't it?
hedgerow on a bipod.
And you're very confident
Yeah.
in the shot you're going to take.
No, if you're, I mean, there's air guns regularly now doing 80 plus with the right ammo, and yeah, fine. If you are confident and you know you can do it and repeat it, that is your range. That's fantastic. If you've got an 80-foot pounder with slugs that you will group inside an inch, go for it. That's brilliant. You've got the right gear. If you've launched it 2.5 feet high at a 75-yard rabbit with a legal limit 2.2, no, you're not on.
One gun I shot belonging to a friend, which I shot at distance with, and that was a 1.7.
One HMR.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
God.
the different grave there.
Oh. I mean, the speed that they're so fast, and 100 yards, they're just flat.
Yeah.
100 yards, straight on. But the noise.
Yeah,
awful lot of
You've got
powder.
a big tin can on the front, you know, crack, they go, you know, but my God, as you pull the trigger, they're there, you know.
I had one night out on one of those. A friend of mine's got one when he first got it about 10 years, about 8 or 9 years ago. For the first 20 shots, I thought, that's it. I'm selling everything. I'm getting one of these. Right. Another 10 shots in, I thought, not a lot of skill I'm doing here. Just shooting rabbits with ballistic tips. And we collected them all. We shot 80 odd. We collected them all. Now, I swear this is true. There wasn't a single rabbit. They were all blue. They were all bruised to pieces. We had to cut legs off to get something out of it. We had to cut bits of legs. And
they're so susceptible to the conditions that you shoot them in. Wind, it's only got a blade of grass, anything can they're off.
I was quite impressed with that aspect of it, that if they hit a tiny bit of vegetation, they just fragment, which I was quite impressed with. But I kept looking at these shells, and you can forget the cost as well. And there's such a lot of powder to push that thing. It was some mad figure like 3,000 foot-pounds or so. I might have probably completely wrong, but I was fascinated and bored in one evening. I mean, others brilliant. Let them do whatever it is, as long as you're safe and legal and you're being a good rep. That's fine. But no, I'm air guns, and I'll always be air guns.
So the next question, well, actually, I've never done this before. This is new to this episode for you. We're going to do a bit of a quick fire session. So I'm going to give you one question, and you've got to give me one answer for it as fast as you can.
With no explanation?
With no explanation, just one answer.
Yeah, I've seen these before.
I'm a bit slow at my age, so give me a bit of...
So we're going to do 6 quick fire questions. Then we're going to get Terry's gun out, and we're going to see what she thinks this new the new
Hick Micro.
Hick Micro, yeah. Right then. Favourite calibre?
1.7.
Spring or PCP?
PCP.
Pigeon or squirrel?
Pigeon.
Most underrated airgun ever?
I don't know.
Come on, you got your question. Come on. Got to give an answer. Sorry, I've got your answer.
Meteor?
BSA Meteor?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
For what it was at the time,
yeah, fair
it
play.
was a wonderful gun.
Okay. A pint or a cuppa after a session?
Pint.
Yeah. Not going to tell them about that. Yeah, so that's the quick fire thing done then. Let's have a look at this 4K light, shall we?
Right. Get me on it.
So tell us a bit about this 4K light then, Terry.
Right, you got me on this. You know, earlier on you said, what would you not go hunting without?
Yeah.
Well, it used to be the thermal spotter, and it still is in a way. This is it now. It's amazing that after so many years, that 2 things have come along in my hunting lifetime that has totally, you know, that terrible phrase, game changer. Those are both game changers. Thermal spotter, without a doubt. Everybody accepts that now. That's cool. This is the Hick Micro 4K light. It costs 650 quid, and I'll get that in straight away because that is not expensive for what this does. Look at the size of it. It's the size of a 3 to 9 by 40 scope.
I'm shocked how big it is.
It weighs a pound and a bit. That's all it weighs. It won't throw the balance out. You use it exactly like an ordinary scope, but it's got that little gizmo on the top. That's the rangefinder. It's got a ballistics program in there that straight away scares Barry when I say that ballistics program. Dead easy.
There's no IR touch on this, is there? But it's got night mode, actually. You can put an IR touch, external IR.
You fit your external IR. What they've done is they made this for air gunners, and they want to make it as affordable as possible. So a lot of people have got an IR torch, or you can buy a cheap one. Because it's air guns, you only want an IR torch that will light up to 60, 70 yards.
Of course, yeah.
every one I've got will do 120 yards, no problem. But the greatest thing, one of the greatest things, that's a digital scope in the day, obviously, and a night vision scope at night. I have two of the most expensive scopes you can get from the best scope companies in the world. They pack up 2 hours before this does. So you can't use them, it's too dark.
What's the runtime on this then?
It'll do 7 to 8 hours on the internal battery itself.
Yeah.
And then there's an external.
Oh, right, okay.
They'll give you another 3. So you carry 2 of those or 3, and you just keep feeding them every 3 hours. Or, you know, you can go, the most I've used it, I've done 8.5 hours, and I was still on the same 2 batteries.
Yeah.
So, but the great thing about it is, the real great thing about it is it's usable, it's understandable. It's got the one turret there. It's got your video, your camera, the ballistics, blipper, just the rangefinder, and the menu. And then you move that dial to access the menu and travel up and down the menu. And I am technophobic. I hate technology. Hate it. It all goes wrong. And people on the other end of the phone say, "Well, I've never heard that before. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone doing that." But I can run this, and that's what I'm so pleased that Hike Micro listened to what a bunch of us had to say about what air gunners would need. And we told them it's no good making the best thing in the world if the shooters can't access it or it scares them off. And they come up with it. And it's, you know, these features have been on things before, but nothing as small and as light and as affordable as one of these with the quality that it's got. It's an incredible piece of kit. And I would feel undergunned without. I'm a less efficient shot, or after all these years, I'm a less efficient shot without this telling me exactly where to aim. You know, some people would regard that as shameful, but I don't. I'll be 70 in 2 years' time, and I'm learning new stuff. That's amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. And yeah, I wouldn't go hunting without one of those.
What's your thoughts on this then, Barry?
Lean forward, old chap.
Come and have a look.
So what do you reckon?
As I say, it can give you a point of reference, but you've still got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day is down to you. Miss or hit is still down to you.
Yeah, true.
That's all I've got to say. But if I was 30 years younger, I'd be grabbing older ones. But I'm not at my age.
I just welcome the up rate of efficiency.
Yeah.
It makes hunters better at, or especially vermin controllers, it makes them better at delivering that shot, that final shot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that can never be a bad thing.
No, it can't.
It's always got the idea of, oh, I'm hearing it already.
If you don't want to learn how to, that is.
Yeah. Well, I learned how to, but I like a bit of backup. No, you can't cheat. When it comes to delivering a pellet, you can't cheat.
No.
You absolutely can't cheat. You need, if it's competition, oh yeah, imagine turning up at an HFT shoot with one of these. That'll be banned in a second.
Yeah.
I probably already are, aren't they, in rangefinders?
Yeah, you can't use them.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's it. We impose sort of self-imposed sort of restrictions and difficulties, but you don't do that in the hunting field.
No.
You've got one job. You've got to be as good as you can be. This makes me better. So I've got to be as good as I can be. Well, I can add this to my shooting armory. So that's me being as good as I can be. And that'll do me. So I'll take no criticism at all of it, even from old traditional types. No, I love it. Absolutely love it. Still plenty of challenge out there.
No, it's brilliant. It's lovely. Lovely piece of stuff.
And then one last question before we wrap it up then is, what do you think we could... me and Terry spoke about this quite a bit, about getting more people into sport, because there's a lot of light gets shone on our sport as being dangerous, or people don't like... There's not enough people, I don't think, coming into the sport. And I won't say it's a dying sport, but I don't think it's publicised enough as being done in like the right situations, like at clubs, and being tutored by the right people and things like that. You know, where do you see the sport going in the next 10 years?
My opinion is, I think it will always go against us.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's going to get worse.
Yeah, the social conscience is against.
It's just stacked
shooting
against
things.
you.
Yeah.
Mainly by people that haven't got a clue anyway. But they're the ones that are hold the cards when it comes to all this.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest turn points was when the guns started to get uprated. You know, more and more powerful.
Yeah.
I don't think that was necessary. As I say, for me, that only shoots 30 yards, it didn't matter. 11 foot-pounds plenty from what I wanted to do.
But it just proves that if you can do it 30 yards, other people can do it 30 yards.
Of course
it's just
they
a
can.
fieldcraft.
Everyone, there is nobody out there that can't shoot at 30 yards if they practice long enough.
No, the biggest
and
danger
kill
to me
rate
is
is so much higher, and the quarry's there.
Mm.
We've spoken a lot about walking down a bridle path. Let's say you was walking without a gun, 5 minutes to walk from one end to the other.
Mm.
With a gun, it should take you at least half an hour. And the biggest problem is patience and walk and stopping every so.
expecting
And
results
you'll
as well.
be surprised what will jump out in front of you and what will land in a tree. And as a young, you're so eager to, you look over nothing there, run down there, looking over, oh, sod it, pigeons flown out. You think, damn, I should have waited or took me time. Patience and slow movements all the way through. Because just because there's a rabbit not out there when you look,
Doesn't mean
5 minutes, how many times they jumped out in front of you?
Yeah. No, patience is a very difficult thing. We didn't have it as youngsters.
No,
we have to admit that.
No.
I think the biggest barrier we've got is, remember, there's a whole generation out there that the hardest job in the world we're going to have is getting them outdoors. They don't want to get them shooting. They want to stay there behind games and consoles and things. They don't actually like to get outdoors. As young people, we were judged by our sort of peers as how good we were at what we did. It wasn't football. It wasn't video games. It was hunting. It was how much food you brought back on the table and all that. That consciousness has changed totally. I think the best thing we can do is to show them through videos like you're doing now.
Definitely.
Show them where the pleasure's there. Where there's more to it than pulling a trigger. You're not a gun nut. That and the club network. If the club network, again, what you're doing, I'm not saying it because you're there, but the club people who've got clubs who can show the responsible, legal fun, enjoyment, satisfaction, achievement. You can push yourself with one of these way farther than you'll ever achieve in a lifetime if you want to. It's all there. Fellowship. I get out of Bisley on a Tuesday morning with the lads. We don't shoot 15 shots each, and it's all Mickey taking and wind up and who's bought this. And there's so many more elements. The trouble is the only element they will see is in the newspaper.
It's the bad bits.
Because negative press sells, doesn't it?
You're on with the mindset of people.
It sells.
When I was 15, 16, you could walk along a field and people walk past you and go, hello, you've got a gun in your hand. Now they look at you as if you're about to shoot them or something.
Yeah, because they've been taught that.
But I was always taught, someone walking up, you break the gun. Even if it was an air rifle, you broke the gun. And that just, even then, but now I think the generations that are coming up now, they're not ready for it. I don't think they ever will be now. They're in a
so it's up to you, really. Down to you and your
oh
generation.
yes, definitely,
Isn't
definitely.
it? It's up to you. And
there's always going to be plenty of takers for what you want to do. Always going to be plenty, but you're fighting a battle against the establishment with all this now, which is a shame. I think it's a terrible shame.
And on the plus side, we'll be out there just enjoying ourselves until we can't move anymore. And imagine that day when we can't get out there. Can you imagine? Oh no, I'm not having that. They'll have hover wheelchairs and things then, won't they? We'll be able to go out with anti-gravity wheelchairs.
For anyone who's taken up hunting, patience and slow down. You'll absorb so much more than you could ever take in by rushing around thinking, oh, what's over the next fence? There's not a rabbit there. And the times I've scared quarry, I've also flown out. You think if I'd only just stopped and taken me time.
Luckily, time has slowed us down a treat.
So it's worked. So
takes us 4 times as long to walk the same distance
just
now.
Slow down, and take your time.
Slow down,
and so much will come out in front of you while you're standing there.
Just enjoy the moment. Don't judge your day on results, on trophies won, or what you've put in the bag. Have it as time you've enjoyed doing what you're doing.
Very, very important. Only thing after you learn about a pigeon, do you know, if you sit there and study a pigeon and watch him, you'll be surprised just the different things that he'll do that you can anticipate what he's going to do. And a rabbit's the same. A rabbit, when he's feeding in the field, he'll stop and he'll look up straight away. And he's looking around and you're waiting for it. And his head will go down again and you'll move that a little bit closer. You wait for his head to come up again. You know where I'm going. And you get closer and closer and closer. That's, it's studying the animals that you're shooting. Know about them. It's important, very important. And all the wildlife that's around you.
Yeah.
Plus, get one of these.
If I was younger, I'd have one, without question.
I'm actually getting one this week, actually. So, there'll be a review coming on that very soon.
If I was younger, I'd have one.
But I've really enjoyed today. Thank you for organising this, Terry, and thank you, Barry.
My pleasure.
It's really been nice meeting you, mate.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
a lot, Terry.
Well
Thanks
done.
again.
I won't check. He said I'll see him every week.
And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.
See the tree?
Yeah,
Right. Look to the LRF. What does it say?
48 yards.
Yeah. Look at the aim point below the crosshair. Can you see it?
Yeah,
See?
just
Right,
a little, you know,
yeah.
a lot. It's
Right
not a
now,
lot
swing
holder.
right down
I'd
close.
say I'd double it. I would, but never mind.
Say
Yeah.
right down close to the house now.
Yeah,
To the little
yeah, to the
little thing. Ready? Watch the like.
LRF 28 yards.
Yeah, that's the white panels. Go
43%.
Go swing to there.
Yeah, but what?
Well, that's all your aim points for all those.